Dem strategist wakes up. He says, we need to stop being the party of wokeness and moral condescension. Um, I agree with him, but he is the minority when it comes to the Democrats. He's probably going to be attacked from the woke left for saying, for stating this fact. They need to get rid of the wokeness, and that condescension is not working. The people have spoken out against this, and by voting for Donald Trump overwhelmingly. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to show some clips. We're going to show how the party has changed over the years. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from Tyler Durden from Zero Hedge, and he reports that a leading Democratic strategist has slammed the party for pandering to radical leftists and alienating regular Americans. Julian Epstein said during a Fox News interview, there is a deeper cultural problem with the left and with the Democrat Party. So let's just get into this clip here. It's kind of a long clip, 4 minutes long. I'm probably going to play the whole thing, but let's get to it. Here we go.
Democrats, meantime, are still scratching their heads, trying to figure out what went wrong with President-elect Trump and Republicans across the board, gaining, obviously, so much ground in the election. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman telling the New York Times he wants Democrats to stop freaking out. He went on to add that his party can't underestimate the pull that figures like Joe Rogan have on young voters. Here to weigh in, Julian Epstein, the founder and CEO of the Center for Industrial Progress. Great to see you as always, Julian. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. You have been one of those sounding the alarm among fellow Democrats for a long time that they just weren't reading the mood of the nation. So what should they read now? How should they listen to you and get it right in 4 years' time?
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for having me on. And yes, you're correct. We have spoken many times in the last year or two about what the Democrats were doing wrong. And Democrats in their postmortem are sort of talking about these things. They had the wrong candidate and their policies were wrong. And sort of all of those things are right. The Democrats need better.
That's the main thing when it comes to voting, though. Having the correct candidate, having the right candidate, and having the right policies. I mean, which they didn't in both instances. So, I mean, they have to definitely rebuild from the ground up, I believe. And they need to start by dismantling and getting rid of the woke ideology.
Better candidates, and they need to move back to the center on economic and cultural policies. But my point has been that there is a deeper cultural problem with the left and with the Democratic Party. And it's a party of wokeness, and it's a party of moral condescension. So on your previous segment where you were talking about immigration, what the left has done is they have said to people, if you disagree with us on open borders, then you're a bad person. And what that has done is it has caused the left to shut its ears and to stop listening to people. And it's made it a lot dumber. It makes them feel good amongst themselves. It helps them achieve social status amongst fellow progressives. But it has made them a lot more tuned out to what the country is saying, and it has made them ineffective. And I think, and a big reason, I think, for the loss. And what the Democrats have to do is cast away this sort of culture of moral condescension and talking down to people and start listening. And,
I don't think that's ever gonna happen. That's the Democrat Party in a nutshell. They condescend and they talk down to you. They think they're morally superior and they think you're just morally wrong on every issue. So I don't think I don't think they could ever fix that problem.
You saw it, we talked about this with all the expression of the use of the words fascism and end of democracy. People just tuned out to that stuff. They don't believe it, and they don't like the moral condescension.
And I wonder if that is what you think that John Fetterman might be getting at. In his quote, part of his article with the New York Times, or interview with the New York Times, he said this: I'm just saying, buckle up and pack a lunch, because it's going to be 4 years of this. And if you have a choice to freak out, on the hour, then that's your right, but I will not. If you freak out on everything, you lose any kind of relevance. Do you think that's what a lot of Democrats have been doing?
It's the whole boy who cried wolf thing. You can't keep crying wolf and thinking people are gonna run and listen. You can't keep saying, "Oh, he's a fascist. He's a fascist. Oh, he's a racist. He's a racist. Oh, they're homophobes and all these other things." You keep calling people this, they sooner or later they tune it out. They stop listening.
Since Election Day, freaking out? And do they need, as John Fetterman says, to stop doing it?
I think they do need to stop freaking out, and I think the writing has been on the walls, as you and I have discussed many times, with not just the policy on the economy and on all the cultural issues, even things like the Green New Deal, has been out of step with where the voters were, and I think they didn't listen to all of the data that showed that. I think, as I said, the candidates were wrong, but I think that the Democrats are going to have to do things like going on Joe Rogan's podcast. The fact that you had a few woke staffers inside the Harris campaign saying it might offend fellow progressives going on is lunacy.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the type of place.
Joe Rogan has the eyeballs. Millions upon millions of people watches his podcast. Why wouldn't you get on that podcast just because you're worried about upsetting a couple of progressives that don't know anything about the Joe Rogan show? It's idiocracy. But that's the Democrat Party in a nutshell.
You ought to be going. If you look at why working class voters, and particularly men, have shifted Republican, it's not. You can look at immigration, you can look at unfair trade, and you can see how working class voters and people that work with their hands have been disadvantaged by this sort of neoliberal consensus of the last 2 decades, and why there's such a rebelling against it. And again, what the progressive left does is says you're a bad person. That sort of covers up for their luxury beliefs. Immigration helps the elites a great deal by providing them a low-cost servant class. It allows them to shut down the conversation by saying, "How dare you question me? You're a bad person if you question me." And it's a way of achieving greater social status in the faculty lounges. And all of these things are sort of an echo chamber in the progressive class, but it makes them very stupid and very insulated and very out of touch with the concerns of particularly working class men who shifted away from the Democratic Party. So it's not helping the party. It's a cultural problem is the point that I'm making.
All right, Julian, great to see you as always, and I would recommend everybody to go to the New York Post website, check out your op-ed, which was all about the Democrats remaining out of touch. Julian, great to see you. Thank you so much.
I agree with everything he said. Right on. How can he be that insightful and still be a Democrat? I don't understand. We couldn't have put it better ourselves. What the strategist says about immigration is a prime example. If you look back to 15, 20, 25 years back, Democrats were saying more radical things about immigration than Trump does. That's a fact. We got the receipts here. This clip of Hillary Clinton from 2008, for example, has been going around on X this week. So let's play. Remember, this is how Democrats used to feel about immigration in 2008. Let's listen to Hillary Clinton. Here she goes.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
Sounds like Trump, right?
If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. And you have to wait in line.
But wait a minute, learning English isn't that xenophobic, right? Isn't that what the left has been saying? So she sounds like Trump. She sounds very Trumpian. But Joe Rogan and his bros played the clip and broke down just how much an illusion this new cultural position of the Democrat Party is. Let's listen to Joe Rogan's take on this. Here we go.
What you're seeing with Trump, regardless of his flaws, is a massive, concentrated psyop. They've distorted who he is to the point where most people think that way. They've had narratives.
What is a psyop? I keep hearing that.
Psychological operation.
Whoa.
Where they've decided to distort people's perceptions of things.
Yeah, when you tell like an older liberal that like the Obama deportations were higher than the Trump deportations, they go, no, what? No. And you go, no, let me just Google deportations Obama versus Trump, and you go, it's lower. They go, wait, what? Like, here's 19 straight articles saying that I'm right.
Yeah.
And they go, that doesn't make sense. And you go, right, Focus on what's giving you
Hold
the
on.
reality of the world.
Check this out. Jamie, go to that Hillary Clinton thing that I texted you today.
JMO.
This one is wild. This
We can
is
actually
Hillary
play the
Clinton
clip.
in like 2008. And Hillary Clinton saying some wild MAGA type shit about
Oh, she used to say the wildest shit.
About illegal immigrants.
Wasn't she?
We gotta have
Hold on, go.
What?
Tell people to come out of the
Back from the
shadows if
beginning. Do it from the beginning. It's okay. Do it from the beginning. But I want to
I
hear
think we
it.
got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No
We
questions
just saw
asked.
this, so I'm
They're
gonna
gone.
fast forward a little bit.
She's a Republican.
If they've been working and are law-abiding, here are the conditions for you signed because you came here illegally. And you have to try to. You have to wait in line.
Anyone
You
else
have to
hard?
wait in line. You have to wait in line, and everybody's cheering.
So,
2008. Hillary
2008.
Clinton was more MAGA than Trump.
She's
How
always
about
been a
that?
Republican.
But how about that?
Wow.
More MAGA than Trump.
And then
it's
you
all
couldn't believe
a
that if you
fucking
watched the news.
illusion. It's all a fucking illusion.
Yeah. Excuse the language, y'all. There are plenty of other clips like this, including Bill Clinton and Obama saying the same thing, proving that the Overton window has massively shifted. Here's Barack Obama. Let's hear what he has to say about immigration.
We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
Sounds MAGA. Barack Obama sounds very MAGA there. And here's 2007 Obama on immigration, border security, and the effect of illegal immigration on wages. Here we go.
I think we should have strong border security. It doesn't make sense for us to allow hundreds of thousands of people coming through our borders without us knowing who they are. Oftentimes in very hazardous situations and unmonitored situations that could do us long-term damage. I think we should have a serious employer verification system where employers, when they hire somebody, find out what their work status is. Are they able to work here legally? Right now, what employers will say is, well, we check their Social Security card. That's the best we can do. So we've got to set up a tamper-proof system and then hold employers accountable. And this, for some, is the most controversial part, that we've got to have a pathway to citizenship for the 12 million people or so who are already here. You pay a fine, you learn English, you stay out of trouble, you've got a job, you go to the back of the line so that those who came here legally, that backlog is cleared before you have opportunities for citizenship. That is a reasonable approach, and one that will ultimately address the biggest problem for American workers, and that is the depressive effect of undocumented workers who aren't right now subject to oftentimes minimum wage laws or worker safety laws or all the other things that make them cheaper for employers. If they're out of the shadows, then we can make sure those laws are enforced and those cost advantages for hiring undocumented workers go away.
What has happened to the Democrat Party? This is why people has left the Democrat Party, because there are no more voices like that. This is the old Barack Obama. There are no voices like that in the Democrat Party anymore. This is the last one here. This is 1995 Bill Clinton, the State of the Union. Let's hear what he has to say.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on...
He called them criminal aliens. When was the last time you heard a Democrat call an illegal immigrant that?
illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
Thanks.
It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Sounds MAGA. Sounds MAGA. Look at the Democrats standing up. Both sides of the aisle standing up. What has happened? What has happened to the Democrat Party? Democrats have lost their grip on reality. Absolutely. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. What do you think has happened to the Democrat Party where they become so woke and call everyone xenophobic or homophobic or all these other things that they call us? And now the woke, they're even eating themselves. It's crazy. But leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.